F1 fans, hold on to your helmets. Red Bull just unleashed a game-changing plan that could flip the 2025 championship upside down. According to the Formula One news document, Laurent Mekies spilled the beans on a relentless upgrade push for the RB21 that's got McLaren sweating. But here's the kicker. Can Max Verstappen pull off a miracle in Singapore this weekend to keep his title dreams alive? Let's dive into the chaos tearing through Formula One right now. The Formula One news document lays out a perfect storm for Red Bull as they head into the Singapore Grand Prix. First, this track has been a nightmare for them in the ground effect era. The document clearly states that Singapore hasn't suited Max and Red Bull particularly well, with last year's performance being acceptable, but not especially fast compared to McLaren's blistering pace. That's a massive red flag. A street circuit like Singapore, with its tight corners and bumpy surface, exposes every weakness in Red Bull's setup. Second, the RB21 was in deep trouble earlier this season. The document highlights how understeer in slow-speed corners and poor handling over bumps made the car a shadow of its former self. Just a few rounds ago, Max Verstappen's title hopes looked dead in the water, trailing McLaren by a daunting 69 points with only 7 races left. The document paints a grim picture. Red Bull was struggling to keep up, and the championship seemed like McLaren's to lose. Third, McLaren's been untouchable and their boss Zak Brown isn't hiding his concern. The document quotes him calling Max a disruptor in the title fight, a nod to the threat Verstappen poses to Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri's dominance. With McLaren leading the constructors' standings, the pressure's on Red Bull to respond. But here's where it gets messier. The document suggests Red Bull's pouring resources into upgrades not just for 2025, but also for 2026's new regulations. Are they sacrificing Max's shot at the title to build a future dynasty? That's the fourth problem, a risky strategy that could backfire spectacularly. The tension is electric and Singapore's about to be a pressure cooker. So, has Red Bull turned things around? At first glance, it looks like they've cracked the code. The Formula One news document reveals they've thrown more upgrades at the RB21 than any other team on the grid. They've fixed the understeer plaguing slow corners, sorted out the suspension, and can now run the car closer to the ground without risking disqualification. As the document notes, Laurent Mekies, quoted in the document, says, "We're learning more and more, and the results are undeniable. Max is back to winning races." Take his recent GT3 victory at the Nürburgring, where he dominated a very competitive field, as the document describes. Max himself said the car felt fantastic after qualifying, per the document, and he proved it by crushing it in dry conditions. You'd think Red Bull's ready to storm Singapore and make McLaren rethink their strategy, right? But hold up. The data tells a different story. The document throws a massive wrench in the works. Singapore's bumpy, unforgiving layout could expose Red Bull's weaknesses. It specifically asks, how are they over bumps? And points out that Red Bull's never truly mastered this track in the ground effect era. Last year, they lagged behind McLaren, and the document suggests their upgrades might not translate to a circuit this demanding. Plus, Max's focus is split. The document details his ambitious plans to race the Nürburgring 24 hours in 2026, with more GT3 races next year to build experience. He's even ruled out the Indy 500, calling it pretty dangerous per the document, but he's all in for Le Mans someday. His recent GT3 win, alongside his dad Jos Verstappen's Belgian Rally Championship victory, 17 years after his last win, as the document notes, shows the Verstappen family's racing obsession. But could Max's side gigs distract him from the F1 title fight? And with Red Bull's upgrades partly aimed at 2026, as Mekies hints in the document, are they gambling too much on the future? The plot's thicker than a Singapore Grand Prix traffic jam. Here's where things get absolutely explosive. According to the Formula One news document, Red Bull's upgrade plan isn't just about salvaging 2025, it's a calculated master plan to dominate in 2026. Mekies dropped a bombshell, revealing they're gathering critical data on floor edges, suspensions, brake ducts that will still be relevant in 2026, even with the Venturi tunnels gone. This is huge, folks. The document quotes Mekies saying, "We're fighting to learn more and more, and it's paying off big time." Max's recent wins, including his GT3 triumph at the Nürburgring against top-tier drivers, show he's in peak form. The document notes he called the car fantastic and knew it would shine in the dry, which it did. The RB21 is now faster than ever, per the document, with upgrades fixing understeer and allowing the car to run lower without issues, something Ferrari can't manage. As the document points out, their rear suspension woes make them bounce too much to run low without risking disqualification. But the real shocker. The document suggests Max could go on a crazy run and win every race from now until the season's end. That's a massive claim when McLaren's been untouchable. The evidence points to Red Bull finding a secret edge. Upgrades that make the RB21 a weapon, especially in high-speed corners. The document contrasts this with Ferrari's struggles, noting that if they could run their car lower, it would be a far better car, but their season-long bouncing issue is holding them back. Red Bull's got a clear advantage here, and Singapore could be where Max proves it. The document also highlights the Verstappen family's racing legacy. Jos Verstappen's recent Belgian rally win, 17 years after his last, mirrors Max's hunger for victory across disciplines. And get this, the document says Max is the first F1 driver since Jackie Stewart to win consecutive races across different championships, a nod to his GT3 success. This guy's building a legacy, but the championship fight is where it all hangs in the balance. So, what's at stake? If Red Bull's upgrades deliver in Singapore, the 2025 championship could turn into an all-out war. The document states Max is 69 points behind, but with 7 races and 3 sprints left, a win here could slash that gap and send shockwaves through McLaren's garage. Zak Brown's already on edge, calling Max a disruptor in the document. And it notes that McLaren might face questions in Singapore about backing Norris or Piastri to counter Max's charge. That's pure drama. Imagine the press conference fireworks. If Red Bull keeps this momentum, they could not only challenge for the driver's title but also shake up the constructors' standings, where McLaren's been cruising. The document even speculates that without McLaren, Max would be leading a 2-horse race against George Russell, showing just how pivotal Red Bull's upgrades are. But here's the flip side. Singapore's a brutal test. The document warns that Red Bull's upgrades might falter over bumps, and their not terrible but not great result last year proves they've struggled here. If Max stumbles, it could show their car isn't versatile enough, handing both championships to McLaren. The document also raises a massive curveball. Next year's 100% sustainable fuel, costing a staggering $300 per liter compared to $25 to $30 now, could reshape the grid. Teams like Aston Martin, backed by Aramco, might have an edge, as Fernando Alonso hinted in the document, praising Adrian Newey's next-level brain and saying Aston Martin's got the resources to get it right. He's optimistic, per the document, but warned that time's running out for him to see that rocket ship he's been chasing. Red Bull's learning now could make them unstoppable in 2026, but only if they don't drop the ball in 2025. So, what's left unanswered? The Formula One news document leaves us with a ton of burning questions. First, can Red Bull's upgrades conquer Singapore's bumps, or will they crash out like last year, as the document warns? Second, is Max's GT3 obsession, like his Nürburgring 24 hours plan for 2026 and more NLS races, pulling his focus from F1, as the document suggests? Third, what's McLaren's next move? The document hints they'll face pressure in Singapore to pick a lead driver. Will it be Norris or Piastri to fend off Max? Fourth, what's brewing in the driver market? With Colapinto's seat at risk, Bortoleto's meteoric rise, and rumors of Tsunoda or Doohan joining Alpine per the document, who's next? Fifth, will the 300 per liter sustainable fuel costs highlighted in the document give teams like Aston Martin an edge in 2026, as Alonso's optimism suggests? And finally, what about Ferrari? The document notes fans are begging them to just send it and run the car low, even if it means disqualification, to deliver a masterclass instead of P8, P9 finishes. Will they take the risk? Singapore's going to be an absolute blockbuster, folks. Can Max and Red Bull pull off the upset, or is McLaren too far ahead? Drop your predictions in the comments, smash that like button if you're hyped, and subscribe for all the F1 drama. We'll catch you at the race.